Hey everybody, it's me, Tom Bechtold from OptiPro, and we're here with another show spotlight. We are so fortunate today to have David Shelton from AmeriCOM. David, thanks so much for coming.
Hey Tom.
And talking to us. You are the CEO of AmeriCOM. You're the man with the plan.
Right.
So this is a job that you came to fairly recently.
That's right, yep.
And, you know, I too am just recently rejoined the OptiPro team after a 35-year absence from working with my dad. We're back. What brought you to AmeriCOM? What was the interest?
So my career, I started at the Infrared Systems Lab at Creel with Glenn Borman, and I started out in the small business world trying to build unique optical components and infrared detectors. And one of the things that I learned is when I got up high enough to where I got a brief audience with someone that was in the DoD Senior Executive Service, and I had a few minutes to potentially sell something big, and I went in there to talk about all of the things that my detector could do and what my specific detectivity could be and stuff like that. And they said, yeah, I don't care about that. Ultimately, it's just I care about survivability, I care about lethality. They care about things at the system level and what impact is it gonna. And sort of I learned from my experience running both the camera company and then that detector company is that if you wanna sell components, you have to understand a lot of the story of what impact is the new component gonna have versus the old component. If you make that replacement, if you make some kind of upgrade at the system level, what kind of difference is that going to make? And so if you want to sell a component, you got to tell a system level story. So that led me on this journey to where I spent some time at L3 doing image processing algorithms. I'd spent some time at BAE Fast Labs doing system level work and radiometry. And then for the past 4 years now, I was at what was Ball Aerospace, is now BAE Space and Mission Systems, working both space programs and tactical programs, really at the system engineering level.
Okay.
So that's sort of been my journey, but in all of that, my wife Susan has been telling me for years I'm never really going to be happy until I get back to running a small company.
Yeah.
I was always supposed to be.
Oh.
So when Bob Bixler came and knocked on my door about this opportunity,
yes,
I said, all right, I'm happy to come talk to you. And so that I came out and interviewed in March.
Yes.
And then accepted the position in April.
Well, I know.
So here I am.
On a personal level, I can tell you how happy the people at AmeriCOM were that you did accept that. I know that was something that was very exciting to certain board members who may or may not be blood relatives of mine. Now, the mission today, we had a little breakfast presentation. We're getting the word out about the DPOC, right? That's
the Defense Precision Optics Consortium.
Yes.
Yes.
I knew I couldn't get all those syllables out. Now, with that, you're seeking to, and please feel free to jump in and correct,
sure,
get companies in the optics industry to kind of join as members, as a coalition to provide support and service to what AmeriCOM's goal is.
Yeah, so a lot of the Defense Precision Optics Consortium, so we have projects that we're working on internally as well as subcontracting out in the area of increasing automation for optics fabrication tools, which is very much
that's one of our
OptiPro's interests.
We are certainly moving in that direction over at OptiPro. Absolutely, yes. Our automation is pretty cool.
In things that really create significant bottlenecks when the Department of Defense wants to be able to get sensors into the field. What limits how fast we can get sensors? And
sure.
So a big piece of that is the availability of material. It doesn't do you any good to grind and polish optics if you can't get your hands on the material to start with.
Yeah, that's kind of, it feels essential.
Certain things, multispectral infrared systems where, historically that's been a lot of germanium. It's been a lot of things like gallium arsenide. Germanium and gallium is even worse. It's just where it happens to be located within the earth. Most of the mining is being done in places that are becoming less friendly to us. They're becoming less friendly from a trade perspective.
Sure.
It's caused a lot of price availability. It's caused a lot of schedule availability. All of that stuff ultimately will filter back into military programs. And I know a lot of times when I was at Ball and we would bid programs, and we were often be surprised by, we sort of had a historical expectation of, okay, well, we've bought this lens from the supplier before, and it cost this much, and it took this long. And then when suddenly that price triples and the lead time triples, that becomes, from both the cost and a schedule perspective, it becomes a significant. And so some of it is really just an information sharing and a communication thing across the industry and making connections. I found a lot of instances in my travels to our various partners and with our workforce development initiatives. We're trying to supply technicians in all these different ecosystems in Florida and Colorado, and Rochester and Montana and Southern California and Arizona. And so we, trying to understand their needs both from a labor perspective, but as well as some of these DPOC issues like their, materials supply chain. And part of that, what we've discovered is that a lot of times if someone is really in desperate need of a material, of a service, something that somebody else in one of these ecosystems actually probably has. They're just not aware that this other entity even exists.
Without being too glib about this, because the stakes are certainly high, it feels a little bit like Star Wars, where like they need to grab something to fuel a ship, but they've got to go to this other star system. It's the only place that has it, but they've got an abundance of it, or at least a supply of it. And I think creating this network is so important. I mean, the stakes really are. We're talking about, defense and preserving freedom and human lives. Now, I want to ask you kind of a two-pronged question to wrap us up here. One, AmeriCOM, if someone who's looking to get into the optics industry and kind of, sees the importance in what AmeriCOM is doing, what's the best way for them to begin that process? And two, what would you say generally going forward the next steps for AmeriCOM are?
So AmeriCOM is currently, to get involved with AmeriCOM, so we are looking for members of the Defense Precision Optics Consortium.
Yes.
Consortium does imply members, so we are actually looking to recruit members. Right now, it's a thing that is initially free to join. I don't know if that changes at some point in the future, and maybe there's a pay version, but for now, it's just a free to join consortium, and it really is an information sharing thing. I mean, we're looking for the folks that we fund subcontract work through to certainly be part of the Defense Precision Optics Consortium. But even if we're not having any sort of financial relationship, we're still very interested in having an information sharing relationship. And part of that is we have an ability to sort of trumpet these supply chain problems, for example, to make sure that military leadership is aware of this type of stuff, that people like the primes that are often the customers of folks like a lot of our various partners in Rochester and elsewhere, that they're aware of these issues. Like I said, when I worked for the primes, a lot of times, we were sort of surprised by, our schedule just got thrown off because there's a supply chain issue that we didn't see coming until we went and started asking the question after we'd already run the program, and now we have to go back to the government and tell them, we've got a 3-month delay, or we.
Well, I'm sure they were.
And some of that is unavoidable, but really it's about trying to better make those connections.
It feels very, very important. It feels like it's a logical and intuitive next step is to create this.
And we've got on our website, it's a simple form that you can fill out to become a member of the Defense Precision Optics Consortium. So I think if you go to AmeriCOM.org, that's where you
We'll link that, just so everybody knows. I always promise you. I will link that in the comments for anyone who skipped the last half of this video. Shame on you. But we will have a link to AmeriCOM and an explanation of how you can get involved. Dave, thanks so much for joining us. I'm great to get to meet you this week and get to talk to you. I know OptiPro is very excited about continuing our strong relationship with AmeriCOM, and it's just great to get to know more people in the industry, and it's always a pleasure when they're so warm and welcoming. And I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Very good.
All right, we'll be back with another show spotlight. Next show, I don't know when that is, IMTS maybe. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and comment on this video, and don't forget I'll have the details for AmeriCOM below in the comment section. Thanks so much.